Mike Tyson in reality doesn't look anything like he is on a boxing ring. He left very nice impression as a very nice person. Hi, my name is Peter. Upload your resume to hospitalityjobs.com and subscribe below. Hello, my name is Peter. I came here from Lithuania, and once I got to Florida, I was looking some starter job. Being a student, I had no experience, but I started working in the hotels and restaurants, and since then I fell in love with hospitality because of fast-paced environment. Also, it's very fun, and it gives a lot of income, which can be used to buy your first car, to pay your school loans, or to travel. A long time ago, I started working in a restaurant where I was able to get my starter position as a buzzer, which is basically a service assistant. I was cleaning up tables, taking out dirty dishes to the kitchen, and it was a lot of cleaning involved. Later on, I progressed as a bartender, as a server, which provided me much greater income, and I was directly involved in interaction with clients or restaurants or hotels guests. And I also learned how to do banquets, huge events, such as weddings, concerts, from, let's say, 100 to thousands of people, which is a little different. It's just a different ball game. And I learned how to manage big crowds, how to work very fast and efficiently, which consists of serving like hundreds of people in a very short time, providing drinks, cashing out, bringing them checks, making all these transactions, setting up tables. That involves a lot of multitasking, and it is very fast-paced. I think, generally speaking, hospitality is known for very good income, for relatively easy job which doesn't require special education. It is also fun because you get to meet interesting people, you get to listen to concerts, you get to know a lot of interesting people working with you. So it has a big aspect of great income and fun environment. And I think that attracts a lot of people. Another thing is flexibility. It gives you much more flexibility than typical 8-to-5 job. You can take much more vacation time, time for school. You can trade your shifts. Somebody can work for you, or you can work for someone. So depending you want to work more or less, it's very easily adjustable. So flexibility is another major factor that I like about hospitality industry. Working as a member of a banquet staff, I happened to do several concerts. I happened to meet quite a few celebrities. The most memorable is Mike Tyson. He made his comedy show once, and I happened to work there. He made his comedy show once, and I happened to work there. And Mike Tyson in reality doesn't look anything like he is on a boxing ring. He has very funny voice, but also he's very nice and friendly. And actually he's not a tall guy, so he's kind of small, but also he was world's heavyweight champion. And he left very nice impression as a very nice person. It was Mike Tyson's life story, which turned into a comedy show because it's very hard when Mike Tyson talks to keep it serious, because he has funny voice and a funny way of telling stories. So eventually, at the beginning, it was his life story, which meant to be serious, but eventually I think his producers changed it into a comedy show, and his life story became like a very funny and interactive narrative with a bunch of pictures, videos, and funny jokes. Entry-level hospitality jobs usually begin working as a buzzer, which is a service assistant, or being a host or hostess. Your job duties consist of seating and greeting guests. I think these positions are very basic, and however, they are very rewarding because many people who start working as buzzers or hostesses, they get to know how the restaurant functions from inside, and eventually they get promoted to bartenders, servers, or even managers. My long-term regular, it was like older gentleman whose daughter was getting married, and he once asked me, would I be interested to bartend in his daughter's private wedding party. So of course I agreed. We agreed on date. That day I was off, and I was able to come to their house, which we made the wedding at home. I was in charge of mixing drinks and assisting guests, and I felt like I'm a part of a family because I was the only one person hired there. He also paid me very well and tipped me on top of that, and I was introduced to the whole family members. I happened to meet their cousins, their sisters, their kids, their grandkids, and it was like very, very heart touching and very warm because I felt like it's more than just a job, because I was actually like a part of someone's biggest celebration of their lives. I was I was working someone's wedding in a personal family setting. So usually people don't invite just someone from the street. You need to know the person and you need to trust the person to let someone to work in your house. So for me, it was very interesting and very heartwarming experience, which was very memorable. I think you need to have people skills. First of all and foremost, it's the most important thing to have people skills. You need to be nice to the guests. You need to be nice to your client who comes through the door, because without guests, you cannot have this business. You cannot be successful in that business, because in hospitality, guests are our business, and if you don't take care of them, they don't take care of you, and they don't take care of the business, and eventually you're out of this you're out through the door. So you need to know how to talk to people. You need to know how to interact with people. You need to please every guest, and some of the people may be more difficult than others, but you got to be prepared for these situations and always be very interactive with them. I think people skills are the most important. Second important skill, you need to manage your time, because in a restaurant, hospitality, any hospitality job usually involves a lot of multitasking. So you really need to be good at that, but you can learn that. No, not all of us are good multitaskers or time managers. However, this skill is something you can learn. And another skill is you need to try to be fast and always alert, because many things change in just a fraction of a minute, and you got to be able to respond and adapt to the existing situation. There's always pros and cons that comes with every job. Probably what relates to hospitality, one of the downsides are long hours. Prepare to work very late hours, late at night. If you work in a nightclub, up to early morning. If you work in a restaurant, up to midnight. Prepare to work sometimes long hours. Sometimes you have to work all day, double shifts. So long hours sometimes can be a little frightening, but once you get used, it's not that bad. Another thing, sometimes it is frustrating when you work with so many people, because you got to deal with your kitchen staff, you got to deal with your coworkers, you got to deal with your guests, and just by interacting by so many people, sometimes your emotional battery gets low, because you contribute a lot of your energy. But given good schedule and your time management techniques, I think everyone can overcome these obstacles and really have his job very enjoyable. Just prepare for some difficulties, like with any other job. Sometimes you need to be very flexible and adapt to the situation. Well, I always keep in mind that it's just a job. Once I finish my job, I close the door and all the problems should disappear. What happens at work stays at work. And that's a good part of it, because a lot of things you don't need to carry home, unlike any other jobs. Again, in my mind, I know that I work with a lot of different people, and sometimes situations can be very sour. Somebody comes in with a bad mood, somebody's having a bad day, and I got to be prepared to deal with that. So the key is not to take it personally and try to diffuse the situation, kind of cool down the situation, and take a professional approach to it. Well, the key to make a lot of tips, it's a little counterintuitive, but the more you think about the tips you make, almost every time you make less tips. The key is not to think how much tips you make. It's better to focus on your job, make sure everybody's happy, make sure you're helping your guests, make sure you're having fun while you're working. The time will fly faster, people would absorb that energy, and in return will reward you with more tips. It's easier to start and progress probably in a chain restaurant, because you can transfer from one location to another, and that brand name guarantees some certain traffic of guests, which in return guarantees you some more income. But again, it really depends. Probably there are like servers who make like in good steakhouses, standalone steakhouses, not the chain steakhouses, very good money. And there are like some servers who make in chain restaurants very good money if they happen to be in a good area, in a good location, and the restaurant has a good name. Yes, absolutely. Working in hospitality, it allows you not only to save some money, but also it allows you to travel once in a while. It's very feasible to pay some of your living expenses, to pay some of your tuition expenses, and even put some money aside for your summer vacation, go out of state or out of the country, because hospitality jobs usually generate a great amount of tips. I think in hospitality, bartenders and servers are the ones who receive the most tips. Yes, indeed, of course, good looks help. I think it's not more like the way you look, it's how you present yourself. So speaking of looks, the most important thing, personal hygiene. Make sure your hair is cut, make sure your hair is clean, make sure your shirt is clean, your shoes are polished. Like things that relate to personal hygiene are crucially important in this business. You need to be presentable, you need to be nice to be around the people. People got to feel good being around you. So when it comes to looks, it's not exactly how you look, it's how you present yourself, and that directly relates to personal hygiene. Also, another thing even more important than looks is your personality. Personality shines more than your looks. If you're approachable, nice and friendly person, it can outweigh any looks. You can be a little overweight, you can be a little short, you can be a little skinny, it doesn't matter. But if you have great people skills and personality, people will love you, and you happen to be in the right place, which is hospitality. Sign up for hospitalityjobs.com, upload your resume, and follow us on social media. Thank you.